This is Blacklisted News Radio. My name is Doug Owen, and tonight it is the 9th day of May, 2013. We're joined by Michael Vail, good friend of mine, somebody I've been staying in touch with who has not been in the public, in the limelight, in the podcast or interview circuit in quite some time. So we're going to talk about that, and he is the senior editor of stratrisks.com. It's your daily source for the geopolitical panorama. Keeps you up to speed with what's going on. My name is, of course, Doug Owen, and you can follow me on Twitter at Blacklisted Radio. What's up, man?
You know what? Narrating the insanity and covering the insanity is a full-time job. I'm here. You should be too. Tell your friends.
Only if they're cool, though.
For real, though. This is kind of like hush-hush, close-in set. Only people who know us and cool with us, and those who are on Twitter. It's a lot of people.
That's true. It's true. Yeah, we tweet out, and there's a couple 10,000 there, so hopefully some people will be picking up the podcast. And, of course, we put it on YouTube at the YouTube channel. All of the navigation that you need to be part of the show, along with the chat room and other interactive features, is at blacklistedраdio.com. So, Mike, man, it's been a long time. I mean, you and I, of course, talk all of the time, and you've always got your head in the headlines and really your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the geopolitical world. So we've got a lot of things to get into tonight, always lots of distractions to get through. And, of course, I want to just start off by talking about this, considering that, I don't know, this whole story about the kidnapping and enslavement of these young women, one of which had a child with a guy who said that he was part of the CIA. Interesting note to all of this. It came from Cryptagon, and I'll just throw it out here. He said, quote, "And you are going to laugh. He said he was in the CIA. Probably nothing, but, it's interesting and newsworthy because these stories have kind of taken on a life of their own." And I think that the real takeaway is that it's really become about this guy, Charles Ramsey, the hero, or maybe not so hero, and it's become a focus on him because of this politically incorrect statement that he said. They've already turned him into a song. I've got a bunch of different versions of the auto-tunes to him talking about the white girl going into the black man's arms. You've heard it. If you haven't, then you are lucky because you're isolated from the ridiculousness of the mainstream media. Unfortunately, I have to dip my toes in it. But this has really become about Charles Ramsey, the man. More so, it's the Charles Ramsey story, this guy that's a hero, and the things that he has said, rather than the focus on the victims. The media exploitation of the events is pretty ridiculous, but the whole story...
It's a circus, man.
It's a circus. Yeah.
No, I find it, crazy, okay, because there's always some distraction every week, and, I just finished reading Wag the Dog a little while ago, and so I'm beginning to think that, everything is staged just to misdirect people from, don't look over here, look over there. There's something shiny and bright over there. Take a look over there. And this guy will end up probably with his own reality show. Maybe he'll get a little 15 minutes of fame. But, he's a hero, maybe. I don't know. Everything's suspect in my eyes right now.
Well, the story itself, I don't know how organic or synthetic it is, or if this is really just a staged media event. The sad reality is that in this country, there are a lot of things like this that happen often. And you see it on The Wire. I see these stories, the local stories, all the time, where you have, somebody who's kidnapped and enslaved somebody for years and years and years. The story gets a little bit of attention, and yes, this story is, particularly horrifying, and due a bit of media attention, but it's kind of grown out of that into this melodrama, this telenovela soap opera type thing that I see as so convenient, considering what's happening now with Syria, the potential for a ground war. All of these options are on the table. So,
you had China and India at each other's throat, both of them on the border, okay, trying to figure out how to shut down one another. Could have been World War III. You know, I mean, Israel just bombed Syria, and yet all in the news, what do you see? It's a kitten, and she's rolled up with a ball of yarn. Isn't it cute? Look at it. Look at it.
Yeah. Well, it's a great point, a great topic. There's a lot of focus on that. Russia is now pushing forward with these weapon sales to Syria. And I think that this is a nice stab, or it's a nice posturing by the Ruskies in their military ally. I think that they're saving a lot of face. But, above all of that, what you have is you have the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, in my estimation, that has to show its partners, countries like Iran and other potential members, that they are truly a military bloc, and through either their financial might or their military might, that they can protect other allies. And I think that a lot is at stake for Russia being able to save face in Syria. So the Israelis are angered. They're pissed off. This came out of Reuters today. Israel warned the United States in recent days that Russia plans to sell advanced ground-to-air missile systems to Syria despite Western pressure on Moscow to hold off on such a move. So you have this going on. Excuse me. God, we're having rain, which is great, and it's so green. It's abnormally nice in Austin, but the allergies are just ridiculous. They're ridiculous, all of the mold. But so I'm trying to talk here over the phlegm. But these S-300 missiles really do signify, and the sale of these missiles to the Syrian regime is that they're supporting Bashar al-Assad and his government, and these are measures or countermeasures to what happened with this flagrant bombing. The international community, Mike, is doing a hell of a job in engaging in cognitive dissonance, though some very vocal about the complete lack of international law following that Israel has done, and this blatant attack against a sovereign nation. And
it's a reflex for the quote-unquote international community. It's kind of like, oh, God, they did it again. This is terrible. And that's it.
People become acclimated to that. They become normalized to Israel. Some of the comments here, another war, another day, another war crime committed by Israel. No big deal. Blah, blah, blah. Yawn.
But it's not just, the strike, but the explosion and really the after effect. It killed people. Not just, Syrian military, but people that live near there, okay? Just kill people. And, like I said, it's a reflex. And we go, oh, well, they do it all the time. They'll do it again. It's kind of like, if anybody's seen the movie Brazil, where terror attacks are going off everywhere in their city. And it's like no big deal. Wow, this blew up over there. No big deal. I'll go back to eating. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, our environment is overloaded with that.
Yeah, well, one of the things that they have going on now is Benghazi Gate and C-SPAN. I don't know if have you delved into watching any of this, Daryl Issa and the whistleblowers from Benghazi Gate. If you haven't really missed a lot out there. It's just the information that we already knew, and that was that all the way up to the White House, they were briefed as to the situation and how it was turning into a very, very volatile situation. And they're still trying to save face and cover for the fact that they released that whole Innocence of Muslims PSYOP video for the backstory as to why Ambassador Stevens was killed, assassinated. And
wait. Not killed, not assassinated, raped with a broomstick, kicked around, and slaughtered.
Is that true? Is that verified that he was actually sodomized?
Yes, and not only that special ops command was basically shut down. No, you cannot go. No. And so
right.
on the flip side of this, with the Republicans, for them, it's like they don't really care about the lives lost or anything like that. It's about the loyal opposition. Basically their position is, you got caught, and we're going to expose you so that, we can get a few points out of it, and maybe you'll go down the polls next time, and maybe we can be in power next time. They don't really give a rat's ass, to be honest with you. It's just another episode, okay, of the loyal opposition. We don't give a rat's ass, but we're trying to get power.
Well, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, that's just politics in the world today. It's not unique to the United States and the corruption and the way business gets done in this country. So I don't think we're going to be...
Do you remember MoveOn.org and all these different groups? Bush's war is terrible. We need to stop this. It's a crime. People are getting killed. And Obama's doing it, and it's crickets, man. There's nothing. No one's saying anything.
It's so confusing and so hard for these liberals to really wrap their mind around what's happening. They're like, okay, well, there shouldn't be all of this war, and Guantanamo Bay should have been closed. All of these promises that were not kept somehow. He's been re-illuminated, Barack Obama, that is, and that's why he has not made these decisions. He's changed his mind because he has more awareness of the situation and kind of this whole a way to mitigate people that look from like you and I, from a third party stance. We look at it objectively. We give our analysis, and we just hold people accountable and give you a pretty good probability of whether they're telling the truth just by the actual stats, the actual hits and misses.
Allow me to give you a glimpse into what in my mind. I know it's scary, but hang on.
All right, I'm bracing myself. Hold on. All right, there we go.
I watch the media now. I watch their eyes to see when they know if they're lying or not. Right. So if somebody's trying to remember something they remember before, their eyes go a certain way, and if they're trying to create an image that they're to lie, their eyes go another way. And so you can watch to see if these people really know if they're lying. And a lot of them know they're lying. They're just reading it off the teleprompter. They don't care. And, one after another. And, some PR firm out there somewhere is putting this all together, whether it's the, Jessica Lynch story or the Iraqis, taking down Saddam's statue. All of this is wag the dog. All of this is distraction. All of this is basically put together as a package to basically get you to look at something else. And Jessica Lynch, an American hero. No, she really wasn't.
Well, and it's so much more than that. I think it's really just pushing the media into having to discuss the topic. If they have to discuss the topic, if it's a relevant issue, if it's something that they're forced to deal with, they will. But I was watching.
Yeah, but you say force. They cover some fluff that you really don't have to. I think, like I said before at the beginning of the show, it's a circus, and they have to keep us amused. And so we can't give you these, harsh, heavy stories that could possibly influence you the way you look at policy and politics. And so it's a roulette wheel, and it's a circus, and let's have a good time. Let's sort of dice a little bit, and don't pay attention to the heavy, moody stuff that may irritate you.
Well, it's like this, Charles Ramsey. The reason they love him is because he is this stereotypical or archetype of the racist impression of what most black people are. Hey, now, he's just he's kind of a hick, and he's perpetuating these notions that are very unpopular, and nobody can really get upset with him because he's just a simpleton, and now it's the story, because they need to continue to make it about this non-issue. It is really, I think, exposed the media, and if people aren't really starting to see through this, and just the blatant exploitation. I caught wind when I was a young 20-year-old when there was the Runaway Bride. Okay, I was like, wow, this is
I remember that.
Is this all there is on television? And that was always a misconception that I had. And that was that cable network news, there's a lot of news channels, it's boring, I didn't have any interest in what was happening in the world outside of me, just like most teenagers that grow up in the consumer society. And so I thought it was out there. I thought that the truth was out there. I just wasn't really investigating, and I didn't get my fill, and that if I would just watch network news, that I would be more on top of what's happening and in the
You'd be
know.
more savvy, man. You'd be savvy.
And then I started watching this guy, Dan Abrams. And I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting stuff. I don't remember which channel he was on, if it was CNN.
I remember him.
Yeah. He's probably still around. I started watching him, and I was like, yeah, this guy, he seems like he knows what's happening. But then when those stories and all these huge fluff pieces came through, and then the more you watch, you realize that that's all the ticker's filled up with is all of these ridiculous stories all day long that have no value to you, and most people can find almost no value in their own lives. They're actually just being, sold some product as a way to help them be happy. But when once you look at it, I think you should easily come to that conclusion. So if you don't, then and I'm a pretty gullible guy. I give people a lot of rope to hang themselves with, and I usually try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And that's what I did for a long time with the media because I was ignorant. I had no idea. Then once I started actually consuming it as a young adult, I was like, oh my God, this is all lies and disinfo and crap, and they're selling me foods with artificial coloring. It's crap. They're selling me the idea that I need a diamond. They're selling me the idea that this is, and I saw that immediately. But I don't know. People, I think, are really starting to kind of resonate. You want to take a test real quick on your conspiratorialness?
Hit me.
All right, this is an infographic that was shared with me. I put it up for shits and giggles. It's pretty funny. The United States of Conspiracy. All right, you may be shocked by this. Here's a conspiracy, and I'll let you guess how many percent of people, according to this, actually believe said conspiracy theory. So, of people, how many do you think, Michael Vail, believe that Paul McCartney died and was replaced by a lookalike? How many people, number one, do you believe that? And number two, how many people in America polled do you think actually believe that conspiracy theory?
I'm going to say 30%. No, I don't believe that. Actually, I don't care, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, just an honest guess.
30%.
No. This one's pretty taboo. It's only 5% of the population. But that's still, out of 100 people, 5 or so believe that. Okay, and you don't believe that, do you, or do you?
No, I don't.
Okay. I've heard people talk about it, put out some pretty compelling evidence, but
there was a documentary on it at one point in time.
Mm-hmm. It's still out there, I'm sure. All right. Of people surveyed, how many do you believe think the media and/or government adds mind-controlling technology to TV broadcast systems? Or signals, rather.
I would probably say...
Now, this is the general public now, not listeners to this podcast.
No, I don't know, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say maybe 35%. And yes, I've done basically an analysis of that and the analysis of how televisions were created and basically brainwave states and such. So yes, I'll say yes on that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's marketing. That is that is media and government mind controlling you. So call it PR, call it propaganda, public relations. It is mind control. And I was surprised it's only 15% polled here.
15%? Are you serious?
Only 15%. But I think that they're talking more like there's mind control, like MK Ultra triggers that would turn people into Manchurian candidate assassins. I think that that's kind of where they're leading with that. How about Sasquatch?
Oh, dude, 40%, man. People get into that kind of crazy stuff.
Nope, only 14%. That's 1 out of 10.
Are you serious, dude?
Only 14% believe. I mean, but this is legitimately believe this, not just like entertain it because they watch it on True TV. This is believers. Yeah,
but like really, really hardcore believer. Yeah.
Okay, how many people do you think polled today still believe Osama bin Laden is alive?
I'm gonna go low, dude. I'm gonna say maybe 15%.
15%.
Yep.
I think that's a good guess. It's actually 6, but not bad. How about the New World Order conspiring to rule the world?
Conspiring to rule the world. 27%.
28. That's a lot. That's 1 in 3, and that's one that we, of course, subscribe to, and for many years tried to warn people about. And I think that the coming of it, but rather now looking at the New World Order, it's continuations of the Old World Order. So I have a different, I guess, belief system and what that means. But the New World Order is conspiring to rule the world. I agree with that, and so do almost 1 in 3 people. So that's a interesting one. Here's a couple others. Chemtrails, 5% of people. 18% of people believe that the sun revolves around the earth, which is funny because you actually have people that believe... Are
you serious? Somebody believes that the sun revolves around the earth?
Okay, more people believe that according to this survey, which makes me question that. More people believe that than that the government's adding fluoride to the water for sinister reasons, or the 13% polled that believe Obama's the Antichrist. But one that I actually subscribe to, of the people believe, 7% of the people believe that the moon landings were faked. And I absolutely believe that one. And I have more questions about Roswell than most, I would say, 21%, though I do believe that CIA put out a lot of disinfo to cover up the fact that they were they had found Russian technology. And there's a compelling book recently put out. But I mean, that just kind of gives you an idea here as to what are popular conspiracy theories.
But also the question that blew in my mind is, how many people are going to actually admit to some of those questions? Some people are pussies, okay, and they're going to be like,
well, they're scared to be locked up because if you believe in conspiracies, that might mean that you're a terrorist. If you go to certain websites,
or you need a vaccine. You might need a vaccine for that.
Well, here's a great example. Did you hear about what's happened to Lauryn Hill?
Yes, that is crazy, man.
Now,
I think she has some problems.
This is Newark, New Jersey, though, so God only knows what kind of justice system you're going to get there. But she is, according to the International Business Times and many other people, she is actually to go or undergo counseling because of her belief in, quote unquote, the proverbial conspiracy theory. It's very dangerous, Michael Vail. You cannot believe in conspiracy theories. And that's why she has an almost $2 million tax bill and owes a little over 1.3 still to the IRS, and that's why they're putting her in jail. But she equated it to modern-day slavery, apartheid, debt serfdom. She said that she shouldn't have to. And I thought that some of the points are relevant. Of course, they're always going to look at the conspiracy theories that the military and media oppressed artists that were speaking truth to power. But
is this China? She's literally going to get re-educated?
I don't know what that means. I mean, he stipulated a 2-week time frame for trying to, I guess go and seek mental health assistance.
If you owe money to somebody, the IRS, that doesn't mean that you need help. Okay, I think she has some psychological problems.
No. But her reasoning as to why she doesn't believe that it is applicable to her. She's not going full board sovereign citizen, but basically, saying that it's unjust and that the military and the media are working in tandem to keep people like herself that have provocative and deep lyrics from becoming global icons. And I think that's true. We got...
Wait, hold on. Her album was called The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Now it's going to be The Re-Education of Lauryn Hill.
Oh, ba-ding-ching.
That's horrible, nice. Man. This country is... it is madness.
Well, they cannot let her just get away with not, paying taxes. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and you can really debate whether or not, that was fully ratified or not. But, oh, no. I mean, I've heard people talk about if
you get ratified like Wesley Snipes, but just they like to go after the black people. I don't know if that's something that, or it seems that they're more likely to be targets. Though I'm not saying
we're not going to pay the government, man. I'm not going to pay the government. Screw them.
That's true. Well, I think that if anybody believes that and is disillusioned with the system, it's the people that actually need it the most. So when you look,
I think eventually, Doug, you're going to have people who they don't believe in global warming. Okay, if they have conspiracy theories, they're going to have to get a vaccine. I don't know if you caught that story. It came out last year about the military making a vaccine for extremists. If you're an Islamic extremist or Christian extremist, then they're going to make a vaccine for you. I mean, that's the way it's going now.
Right. For radicalized, they're saying some people have a genetic makeup, a propensity to become radicalized nutbags and harm others. And
Merck will help you out on that, Doug.
Right. Oh, yeah. They're also saying that they can detect psychopaths in children. Did you read that piece? It's one of these Journal Pediatrics. I don't have it in front of me, but basically they can show children. They purport to be able to show children images or put them in situations where they should feel empathy for animals and human beings, and that if they don't exhibit any signs of compassion, that they are demon seed, that they are...
Wait, hold on. I see people every day stepping over homeless people, stepping over people that are hurt in the street.
Where do you
and
live?
They don't care at all. If that's true, then 90% of us, okay...
You live in Florida, though, so that's a whole different breed of species. Floridians are a race of their own.
Slipped and fell. She slipped and fell in Walmart. I mean, she bust her head open to the white meat showing, okay? And people were like... They're either taking pictures of her or walking past her and going, ew. Okay? It took the store people to go, oh, she could sue us. Let me help her up. Let's get her to the ambulance or something. Okay, this is crazy. I mean, people now are totally desensitized to violence. When they see it, they don't care anymore.
I think there's some of that. There's truth to that. I see people doing compassionate stuff all the time, too. So I think that is balanced. And I think that when we see people that do horrible things, it's more appalling, shocking, and it has more interest. And people don't want to hear about somebody, And I've made this
doing something good.
Yeah, I've made this analogy 100 times. Nobody wants to hear about Boy Scouts doing good things. They only want to hear about them getting molested. Nobody wants to hear about a young Catholic boy that has helped people.
A grandma in the middle of the road.
Yeah, they want to hear horrible stories about something sick and sexual that's happened to them. And that's going to have more interest. And that's why those kind of topics have to be suppressed and controlled by the media. And if you believe that, you're a conspiracy theorist.
And you need a damn vaccine.
You need a damn vaccine.
Here's what's crazy, right? When I was young, and I was just really coming up and kind of getting my eyes opened up.
And how old are you?
I was 18.
Okay.
And this is a long, long journey. And
how old are you currently?
Oh, I'm in my 40s, and you shush. So I'm reading about how the media is only in like the large media is only in the hands of a few, like 5 or 6, corporations at that time, right? I think it's even concentrated more now, right? Mm-hmm. And people talk about America's the greatest place in the world. We've got freedom of the press. Now you can't say what you want to say, and now you got to get a psychological evaluation for conspiracy theories. They want to give you a vaccine. Oh, you don't believe in the Holocaust? You don't believe in global warming? You need a pill. This is the way it's going. And You can't even have an alternative thinking in the media. That's conspiracy theory, all those bloggers. I mean, people are so narrow-minded now. It is so sad to see this country go down the road like Europe has already traveled.
Well, sure. I mean, we don't want to go towards more central planning. I mean, if you look at what's happening with the euro, Mario Draghi, they're QEing and pumping and dumping the European economy, and we've seen what's happened with Brussels and the Troika. There's a lot to speak to, and
the bail-ins, dude. Take your money. Just take your money.
Right, with what happened in Cyprus, that they do say is an extraordinary occurrence, and that's not the template. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, though I don't believe them at all. Actions speak louder than words, and I don't forget. I keep grudges, and I know who Mario Draghi is. I've kept up with his bio, so more than
Doug,
I'm one of those the 1%ers out there that actually keep up with this, but. And so are the people that listen to the show, so that's the only reason that you would actually find it entertaining. But this whole idea, this whole notion, I mean, we have QE right now, which is just endless printing of $85 billion per month being pumped into the system.
No, that's not even that. That's not bad at all. That's horrible. That's not even bad of what it really is, okay?
Okay.
It sucks away people who save money, okay? That's what it does. It sucks away people who save money, debasing the currency. So not only are you losing money on money you save, okay, but the price of everything rises up. I mean, it's basically sucking out the economy and leaving you with the hull.
Okay, so what would you say to this? Okay, the central bankers made up, and this is the argument, they did what the political elite were unable to do, and that is fix the situation and keep it from going into absolute global bank run, because the political leaders in this country couldn't make the right decision, and many of the decisions that they made led to this, and that's deregulation, naked capitalism, if you will. With Glass-Steagall and many other safeguards that are just kind of common sense. I hate to use that term over again, but really, it's like saying, well, you don't need a rule to say that it's wrong to kill people. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with having a rule that says it's not all right to kill people and to actually put that to paper. It's okay. It's okay to have that, because we all want people to adhere to that, and if they do that, we'd like to put them in jail. But and it goes into this whole debate about central planning versus the free market. And most people think that if you're a libertarian, that means you have to be cold and heartless. And I think that if people won't compromise on really looking at it in a crony system, people say, what should you do? What can you do about this? We have unaccounted board of governors over the Federal Reserve Board. What can we do about these issues? And I think that you can look to the free market, quite honestly. But what's the problem?
Doug, I'm going to be harsh and cruel now.
Okay.
I'm going to be harsh and cruel and say the free market does not exist today.
It never will. It never could.
Well, I'm just saying this.
I'll take you one further. It can't exist because it requires rationality. And when you look at all of the arguments for from anarchists that say, well, people wouldn't rape the land because it's not in their best interest. It doesn't incentivize them, or it doesn't suit their overall goal.
So naive.
And that's true in most normal circumstances. But when people are dying, impoverished, and people have personality and character flaws, and can easily be under the influence of drugs and other mind-altering substances, it changes that whole equation and changes that whole priority system. So
I'm going to tell you what free market is.
Right.
Okay?
Go ahead.
Free market, under the definition of free market, is, okay, you cut a deal with somebody, all right? I've got this, you got that. You give me that, you take what I give you, we're done. What we have today, basically the free market was established because the British want to sell opium to the Chinese, and then we don't want your opium. That stuff sucks. Okay, we go to war now. That's the free market. And now we handpick who we can deal with. Okay, we're not going to deal with you. We don't like you. Put sanctions on you. We'll pick someone else we like. That is not the free market. That's not even fair. That's nowhere near fair. Nowhere near free. What it is governmental exploitation. Governmental plantational politics. That's exactly what that is.
Neo-feudalism, in my mind. But, beyond the philosophies, though, it really comes down to having some kind of accountability, and you have to be able to put people in jail. And I think that we have plenty of crime, but we have a lot of people trying to make excuses for what's happened rather than just addressing it. I'm a big fan of Bill Still, and we're going to have him on the podcast. He's just releasing a new video called Jekyll Island, and we're going to have him on to talk about it. But he makes a great point. It's very simplistic. Anybody can wrap their mind around it. Right now we have private banks, Federal Reserve, Goldman Sachs, you name it, that buy government debt. The government itself right now, the federal government, is in debt to banks, right? Pretty simple. We sell debt. They give us money. They give us Federal Reserve notes, or they buy stuff or pay off in Federal Reserve notes, or to make it seem very simplistic. And it really is. The simple solution is, if the government printed the money, they could lend it, control the amount, and they could make interest and give it to the banks. So rather than having to pay this debt, they could actually create debt-free money and lend it at a good interest rate where it would actually create wealth. It's an amazing, crazy system. And they could do it at any moment. At any moment, they could do that. Any government can. Iceland's trying. There are some examples of this.
Aristocrats are not going to allow us to live high on the hog and live our lives to how we please and do it as we wilt. Okay, It's called cripple you economically. Okay, it's been going on since time immemorial. Okay, these guys are getting a little too uppity. All right, we got to bring them down just a little bit. All right, and so they will not allow it. Just like now what they're doing to Bitcoin, we're going to regulate Bitcoin. Can't be allowed people to put money in places we can't see and access. That's crazy.
You know, it's so funny. They're like, well, we can't have people buying drugs with Bitcoins. And you know, it struck me as unusual considering that people right now all over the world globally are buying, purchasing, and using drugs and even selling drugs to children with Federal Reserve notes. So, really,
all the drug money,
I mean, that's a bankrupt argument.
That circulates in our banks right now, because of drugs. If it was not for drugs, this economy would have completely collapsed long ago. Okay, that's what circulates the money. All right, and if you don't have the drugs, you don't have the money tied to the drugs, you have no economy. What do we produce?
We do like drugs, illegal and also, you know, pushed by, you know, the Fortune 500s down the throats of Americans.
And we do like products that are tied to oil, you know,
oil.
And plastic.
We like oil
that.
and we like slavery. Most of us.
That's it, dude. Okay, we really don't make anything anymore. We really don't have the skill level.
We do.
For
there are
stuff
things
now.
being made. I think that's a misconception, but we just don't make a lot of.
I'm talking about across the board. Okay, you look at, let's say, the 1940s, 1950s, compared to today. I'm sorry. Sure, we can make some T-shirts. We can make a few things. But basically, all we have in this country are people who wear paper hats and say, "Welcome to McDonald's. How may I help you?"
Well, it's turning that way, and there's a lot of things that you know, have to change. But I heard, I think it was Peter Schiff. I'll give him credit. I don't know, but somebody saying that we need to build less homes and more factories in this country, and I think there's a lot to that. Everywhere I look, there's more and more homes being built, but there's plenty of homes that are on the market. People don't want those homes. They want the great incentives, and the government incentivizes the home builders, and you know, the whole basis for this market of creation.
Subsidies.
Well, it's all subsidies, and much of that is going to, you know, illegal immigrants or our new American friends. If all is said and done, that's not getting a lot of talk about the Dream Act. More retroactive, you know, immunity and citizenship for these people already living here illegally. A path to citizenship is the little buzzword they like to use over and over again.
You know, it really bothers me that, okay, I know people looking for a better life and all that, and they come here, you know, hey, that sounds cool and all that. But guess what? We're down the crapper too, folks. We're like Mexico City too, okay? You know, we're just a little bit better here.
Yeah.
You know what, Doug? You know, does it remind you, like, any and all attempts to sort of circumnavigate away from our economy into something that's logistical and actually honest and decent? Let's say, let's make some gold coins and circulate those. Shut them down. Let's make a virtual currency. Shut them down. Let's make a barter economy and print our own currency. Shut them down. We're going to have only one currency, bitches. That's going to be the Federal Reserve. No, it's not worth a damn, but that's all you got. That's all you're going to get, bitches.
You just want to say that because you can.
That's right, yeah.
You have the freedom now, Michael Vail.
Damn good.
You know, that brings up a great point, and that is that you probably have not done a show with me in over a year now. It's been a long time, and even the last ones that you did were just general angered rants and bloodlettings that you decided to share with me and the audience. So how are things? You know, what has compelled you to come back? What has kept you from wanting to have public discourse about the current situations in the audio platform, podcast, interview setting? Well,
I mean, regardless, you know, you're my partner in thought crime, you know,
yes.
Regardless, and
Aww.
you know, I kind of stay in my own little lane, and you know, I narrate the insanity, you know, on editor's notes on Stratbridge.com and every now and then. But, you know, really, I just been observing, man, and, you know, that's been working for me so far. It's good to bloodlet every now and then, you know, and do that. But, you know, it really does kind of hurt to see our country go the way it is, and the same damn stupid mistakes that other people do that we take notice of. You know, it's kind of like lemmings going off a cliff. That dude just went off a cliff. He's stupid. And we're walking towards the cliff. Okay, it's so stupid. And so, while there's almost a need for me to, like, you know, chomping on the bit to do some sort of radio, I have to sort of step back from that and, you know, maybe do, you know, a little more observation and monitor things. And, you know, maybe pop on here every now and then and bloodlet. You know, that's how I roll.
Yeah, you got to get perspective in life, I think, and that's kind of what happened. And I was just talking with a friend of mine, Doug Newberry, and Doug said, you know, I said, you know, looking at advertising and doing things like that with the websites, you know, sometimes less is more. You know, big, huge, gaudy banner chasing you around the website. It's no good. It's no value in people, and it's unwelcome, right? And so less is more. And I think with the podcast and doing it in this form, there's definitely a lot more to offer because I have a lot more time to actually do in-depth research, read books, interview authors. Last week we had 2 great interviews. This week you're the only one for this week, but Saturday we're going to have our friend James Jimmy JJ Freeland. He's known as all of those things.
He's known as Chode Boy.
No, he's not. That's just your pet name for him.
Truth.
So, yeah, it's it's given me a chance to kind of look at things and actually do a little bit of traveling. Over the weekend, my friend and I went out to the little town that I'm from, just east of Austin, and yeah, I'm not going to throw the name out there. Not that I'm worried about the government chasing me down. They already know where I'm at. But every once in a while, you might have some crazy listener that will chase you down. So most of the people out there that wonder why Alex Jones takes his multi-million-dollar mansion off of Google and he pays for that, it's not because he's worried about the NSA finding him. It's not that he's worried about the CIA finding out his location. It's that he knows that people that listen to him are either going to be appalled because he lives in a huge, gaudy mansion, or they will kill him themselves. So he has fear of his listeners, probably more than he does of the government.
You're right. I was thinking the same thing, okay?
It's the truth. It's the truth.
It would be either that he's super hypocritical, okay, or that his listeners will take note of his douchebaggery and be like, all right, then you've got to go.
It either exposes him or it makes him exposed to the dangers of the crazy people that may and or may not listen to him. But, you know, it's an example of, you know, being open and honest, and people, you know, just can't see that obvious takeaway. It's very simple because the government knows where you're at. But anyway, so I went out to see a good friend of mine. He owns a hardwood company floor, and we were he's building a new house, and we were out at his place, and he has this really cool outhouse. It's plumbed. It's a Willie Nelson mock system. You know, Willie Nelson has this ranch, and they have a golf course, and they have these porta potties that are designed, and they're real tall. It's like 12 feet in the air. It's pretty cool. You have to step up on it. It's kind of like a platform, but it's actually plumbed, and there's water in it. And he's got a, you know, the what do they call it? The field behind where it irrigates into the, you know, back into the crap pad. But so we're out there, and I look over, and this guy has a race car. You know, it's looks like a stock car. On the back of this trailer, he pulls up. Guy has no arms. I'm not making this up. There's no punchline here. This guy has no arms. Okay, and he's got this apparatus where he's got the strap on, and one of his arms, there's a piece of it, and he's got a hook attached to this, a prosthetic, and he's just whipping this truck in with this trailer, this car, this race car on the back of it. Jumps out, and it says Hawken hardwood floors on the hood. And he jumps out of there, and I was like, you know, kind of shocked because he's driving this truck around real fast. And I didn't say anything. We just, you know, cordially hung out for a little while, and he had a race, and he was going to this race, and he was telling us about, you know, going and racing in this, you know, pretty small circuit. You know, this isn't NASCAR or anything. This is more like, you know, Friday Night Lights with you know, some 15 or so stock cars. A pretty big event that he was going to. He got second place, but it was just so wild because you're sitting down and you're like, wow, this guy, I mean, he doesn't have any freaking arms. You think you got it bad. He was actually working in Oklahoma moving trailer homes, and it hit a power line, and he tried to move the power line.
Damn.
Big thing you should know, never, ever, ever touch a live power line, ever. Blew his arms off. And
Blew his arms off?
Yeah, he has no arms. So he's an armless race car driver. Well, anyway, in waiting for my friend to get to the place, because he was driving from out of town, and we're going to check out his new house, and, it's just roughed in. It doesn't even have windows in it yet. We ended up going kind of out of our way for about 20 minutes to look at this Alcoa plant. And Alcoa is actually strip mining, about 35 miles outside of Austin. They're strip mining this huge tract of land for lignite. Lignite is a low performance, low power coal. And I mean, this thing was just awe-striking to see this strip mining operation. You're talking about, hundreds of square miles of just, these huge cranes just stripping and ripping the earth apart just to get this coal. And they use this coal, this low-powered coal, lignite, for the smelters. So rather than buying electricity, they require so much power for these aluminum smelters, so much heat, that it's cheaper, and they're forced to actually strip mine for this low-power coal just to make aluminum. And you just, you look at those things, and you're like, wow, the awing impact of aluminum cans, and this huge industry that's providing jobs to this local community that depends on this, and that codependent relationship, and the codependence with the earth, for which it's ripping to pieces, and it's real debatable about how well it's going to go back afterwards, and they're required to do.
What about fracking, man? I mean, anyway, go look at a video and see how fracking is done. I mean, it's insane, but somehow we're going to produce more oil and gas, and better than Saudi Arabia, and they're literally like pushing flowers and candy up our butts with these lies. But I mean, it's we're just gonna shoot stuff down into the earth, and stuff's gonna pop back out, and hopefully we won't have earthquakes, and hopefully we won't have brown water.
Right.
That's fracking,
well,
folks.
the nice thing is, here's the great thing: they're just strip mining. They're not actually smelting, and that is where we've seen in places like Australia. They've actually, the kangaroos and wildlife around these smelting plants actually get fluorosis from all of the sodium fluoride, and their bones decay, and they die. Basically, it's horrendous poisoning, and it's just so toxic. So the takeaway is, it's better to have them strip mining lignite next to your house. And my parents have no say in that. They're retired, and guess what? There's huge cranes just ripping the earth up right next to them. And I'm not some huge greeny weenie. I see both sides of the coin. The economic impact and the necessity for people to put bread in their children's mouths, and why they want this. And then
I'm a tree hugger, Doug. Tree hugger, man.
but
Truth.
it goes right down to it, where what do you do to what are you willing to sacrifice to be able to exist? What will you do? Will you, and what do you, how do you get affected by these things on a very, micro level? So that's what I've been doing, observing the world more, and, just taking note of some of the things that are happening more locally. It's one thing to see what's happening in Taiwan or what's happening in Russia, and trying to put together a geopolitical analysis of the world and world events. But sometimes, I told the story about the race car driver. My wife's giving me the chopped arm story, she's giving me the international signal for chopped arms that they, yes. Yeah, but it puts in perspective. And, the funny thing was, I was like, wow, man. I was telling my buddy, and he was, giving me the lowdown on what had happened. I was like, what happened to the guy? And he's like, yeah, man, it's, pretty hard. And I said, man, that's just got to be, horribly miserable because you're completely dependent on people to take care of you. I mean, you get to a certain amount of independence and you can do most things with your feet. And having that hook, and, you can get really, really talented with that given.
How did he drive a car?
He has a special arm that attaches a special prosthetic that he uses that's attached to the steering wheel.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. It was pretty. I mean, it was. It wasn't all that high tech. It's kind of what you would imagine a redneck would strap to a steering wheel, and
just do some damn solder the hell out of some steel, and and hook it up.
Oh well. Anyway. Funny enough, I said, man, it's got to be pretty horrible. And he's like, yeah, man. When he decides to jerk off, he has to be really careful because that claw relies on pressure. And when he pushes forward, because it ties around, it's got a strap that ties around his back. When he pushes his arm forward, it opens that claw, and the claw will actually retract. And so when he lets go, he can only let go so much. And I was just like, wow. Could not even imagine that kind of scenario. And it was just one of those things where you're like, wow. Yeah, you realize the true human impact. It's a pain in the butt. You're going to have to get somebody to light your cigarettes, or maybe, you're going to have to open your beer with your teeth, and
but somewhere in this
use
world,
your toes.
There's some guy in traffic that's pissed off because it's going to take him actually 30 minutes to get to work, or 30 seconds to get to work, or 2 minutes to get to work. This guy probably, he's not completely devastated. And then there's other people that got perfect bodies that are never ever happy, man. And so it's kind of relative. And, just like you said about looking at your local area compared to the world. I'm trying to do away with my quote this, my conspiracy reflex. Not reflux, but reflex.
Conspiracy reflex.
All right, now, if my last beer in the fridge is gone, I don't think the CIA took it. Okay,
right. That's good.
And once you get to distrust of the government, you build that reflex up. Okay, Not that I actually believe them anymore, of course, but I look at in the context of history and probability. Okay, did school shootings happen, or did this happen? And what is it? How probable is it? And any contextual history involved. And so I'm trying to look at things a lot more rational and learning a lot more.
Yeah, sometimes things kind of freak me out. Here's something that I just never thought that I would hear ever. Period. And this is a preview of a package that they're running locally, but you might get a laugh out of this. Here you go.
Bags, tape, and broomsticks.
What do you think they're talking about? Bags, tapes, broomsticks.
Is that Guantanamo Bay?
Good guess. Maybe FEMA preparations for some kind of bioweapon. That would be a valid guess. That would be mine. Just hearing that. Here you go.
Bags, tape, and broomsticks used for a quick fix. But this picture isn't from just anywhere. It's inside the San Onofre nuclear power plant. Team 10 asks the tough questions. What was the damage, and was this an acceptable repair?
Yeah, they had a hole in the reactor, and they're using duct tape.
Oh, God.
And you say, wow, that's crazy. Not in this world. We're in the 21st freaking century, Doug. Come on. But if you've been watching that's not getting go ahead.
Duct taper, man. Duct taper.
Well, I'm a redneck, man. I actually have baling wire in my garage, okay? And baling wire can get you out of a pinch. If your exhaust system rots on the back of your car, you can hold that up with baling wire. If somebody rips the bumper off of the front of your car, you can reattach it with duct tape and baling wire. Will it look good? No. But you can reattach it. So after you hit a deer, it's very handy. It's a go-to evergreen, and so not to say that there's anything there. When you need somebody to look at something rationally in an unbiased way, I think rednecks are a good example of people that see right right through most of the propaganda. I think that there's a level of where people really buy the BS, the people that want to be informed and think that they just watch enough TV and just sit there that they can be, and there's people that just kind of see past it. And that's what I see with a lot of people, that they're just seeing past a lot of the reality.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of damn duct tape at a nuclear reactor is insane, okay? But then the same very people like Wackenhut working there who are asleep and, don't care. Some guy goes in there and blows the place up. I mean, that is humanity. You almost have to laugh and then go, oh, jeez. But that's humanity, man.
That is humanity. Well, I know that we're at the 1 hour point. That's usually where we cut the interview, and I know that or somewhere there about. I know that you have a dinner date, but we need to do it again, Mike. We need to really crunch stuff. I know this is kind of this is your inaugural edition, or the first interview of you on this podcast, which is pretty cool. How do you like doing it in this format? A little better?
Yeah, better, man. I mean, I think in this format you can basically, see a lot of stuff happening, on the fly, and then, coalesce some data, compile it, look at it, and really provide good analysis on your own time. And then, when things happen, breaking, just pop on, man. I like it. And you don't have to worry about, selling anybody gold, or you don't have to worry about giving them freeze-dried cat food, man. It's just, get and go, man, and give people good information and get the hell out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Amen.
Well, there's two things I wanted to get to that we didn't, and that is the Department of Justice pushing this website, DefCAD, which is run by a guy right here in Austin named Cody Wilson, and they have the 3D printed guns that they provide those CAD software files for the manufacturing of lowers and receivers, and high-capacity magazines. And today, the DoD asked them to take down these free files. And it brings up a really great question, and that is, can technology surpass and make government and many of the people that I believe have become ineffectual and totally compromised? Can it make them irrelevant in this new world order, Michael Vail?
I think honestly, government's relevant now. I think they make bills on can't burn the flag, going to make a bill to stop you. I think they're completely irrelevant. And I think it is the people, that make America great or make America horrible. And so I think that once we have our own autonomy, once we have our own freedom, and they're not legislating us to death or basically by strangulation, they become irrelevant. I mean, a lot of those people in Congress, they know nothing. The internet's a bunch of series of tubes, okay? Or what happened was in Benghazi, it was this documentary. They don't know crap, okay? They're basically at the damn flying at the seat of their pants, hoping they can look like they know something and impress you.
Right.
But they can't.
They have to have that air of legitimacy and trying to seem, they're actors and they are acting as if they have the full story, and they're just, reading you mostly talking points.
If something big happens, let's say we get invaded by North Korea, never happened, but if something big happens, say, hey, government, man, step in. You're supposed to protect my life, my liberty. Otherwise, get the hell out of the way.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. I think that nullification and some of these other things that are happening at a very, very great neck speed are really, worrying the powers that be. I know that Adam Kokesh, he has, have you heard about this? He has a Second Amendment rally that he's pushing for an armed, as he says, quote unquote, armed revolution. And I don't think that he means, firing upon the government or, calling to sedition, but that people should exercise and, have this official rally. And I know that he did another one where they danced at 4th of July, I think it was Independence Day, at some different monuments, and they were run off by the police and arrested and beaten. But, these are becoming mainstream media talking points, and there's a lot, I think, a lot more focus on this independence and individual liberty movement. It's very threatening. I mean, even by name, the individual freedom movement, and that term is being given negative connotations, and sovereignty, sovereign citizens, and patriot groups that you have to worry about. So all these things that should be great, like nationalism, sovereignty, and things that I think would personify a good citizen. Not that I think that I am, but would. Those things are changing, and they are perverting those terms to really try to demonize people that
and
question.
Isolate people. Yeah, I mean, you fractionalize the base into he's liberal, he's conservative, he's a sovereign citizen, he's a conspiracy theorist, blah blah blah. He's a denier, global warming denier, and so people can't stand up for themselves as a whole, and that's what keeps the government keeping everyone else in check. Okay, so if they're going to do all that, talk to Justin Bieber and get him there, and so the rest of the world can come too.
Michael Vail, are you a believer?
I am damn sure not, man. I do not like.
I have this right here on my piece of paper. That was one of my interview questions, and we got a definitive no.
I did not like video horrors, man. I did not like them.
Okay, yeah.
These serve no interest.
Then I won't hit you up with these follow-up questions. So, what do you think about this march? Have you heard about it?
Yeah, I have. I thought he was like a Black Panther or something. Because the last time I remember unarmed people going up to Washington with shotguns were the Black Panthers. Now it was the 1960s.
Well, I mean, that was the civil rights movement, and I don't know if you saw this poll that they were really talking about a lot last week, but 1 in 5 people, 1 in 4 Republicans, a huge amount of people polled think that there will have to be an armed rebellion and this is the caveat, to get our individual freedoms back from this tyrannical government. and Obama's speaking to them now and speaking to the base. And I know you have to go, so we'll just wrap it up with this, and I'll get your comments. But I think that it shows you how this pendulum is swinging.
Unfortunately, you've grown up hearing voices that incessantly warn of government as nothing more than some separate, sinister entity that's at the root of all our problems.
I think this guy has been listening to the Blacklisted Radio podcast, maybe, just maybe, or visiting the site. I know that the CIA and other agencies under Obama visit your site often, but continue, Obama. Here you go.
Some of these same voices also do their best to gum up the works.
That's why I like our government, because it's gummy. It takes a lot of people and a lot of consensus to get horrible laws through, like his health care platform.
They'll warn that tyranny is always lurking just around the corner.
He says that he's not a dictator, and he even has to try to convince people that he's not a tyrant. And this is the continuing meme, or the continuing, I think, apologies, or trying to convince the people to not remember him as one.
I am not a dictator. I'm the president.
So, here we go. I'll let him finish it up.
You should reject these voices.
Yes, reject the voices that say that tyrants and tyranny could be right around the corner. And, the people that say that to the youth, they are dangerous and they are crazy. So, I mean, does this ring true to you, Mike? First they ignore you, then they make fun of you, then they attack you, and hopefully,
and then you win.
Hopefully, one of two things happens. Then you're assassinated, or then you win. Or hopefully, if you're assassinated, you're martyred.
Take you and put you in a gulag. That's another option. I think
there's more people in the U.S. prison than under Stalin's gulag. That happened last year. That was a mile marker in U.S. history.
It is. I mean, nonviolent crimes. Sitting there making money for the government, making money for private organizations. I'll say this. Okay, when governments are benevolent, they act that way.
Benevolent, malevolent, malicious. You're talking about that? When they're evil?
I'm saying benevolent. Actually, I'm saying it wrong again, jeez. But, I mean, when they act a certain way, you can tell, okay?
Right.
When they try to turn every citizen into a terrorist and we need to snitch on each other, you're going down the wrong path. and you're buying up all kind of crazy bullets, and you're trying to spy on everyone. What does that say? At one point in time in this country, we had some guy, we had a few terrorists, a handful, which is probably still that way, okay, that did certain things, okay, and then you go and you do what you gotta do, arrest and whatever have you, and the rest of us are just fine. But now we're all terrorists. We must be watched, we must be surveilled, we must be spied upon. And when the government goes down that road, it only goes a certain way, man. It only goes one way. And then people begin to go, what the hell is this? And they wake up, they respond, and the government has other tactics to deal with that. And so, yes, he is a dictator.
I think so, or he's a wannabe, and all the people around him, including Bill Gates and many others, have said that they just, the only thing that they wish is that Barack Obama had more power. So they're just so impressed with what he could do, and I guess they're just upset with what he can't accomplish because of that pesky Constitution.
What about executive orders? If that is not some Nero type of, like sort of in-run around the Constitution, well, if I can't get this bill passed, I'll just write some stuff on a piece of paper or someone else will write it in my name, and now it's law. That is not law. And so when you act like a dictator, you are a dictator, okay? Black, white, whatever have you. I'm black, and I'm going to call a spade, okay? If the guy came in, I'm Obama, I'm here to help you, and institute policies to help people, it'd be a different story. But the guy is trying to not only divide us, but to keep eye on us and maybe buy, tons of bullets just in case you have to kill us. That's a dictatorship.
Yeah, and when you see it, it is, and I think this will bring it all around. Let's see. This is the remix for you, Michael Vail. Hold on. Come on. Give it to me. Give it to me. 1, 2.
I'm talking with Charles Ramsey. He's a neighbor. Walk me through again what happened this afternoon.
I knew something was wrong when a little pretty white girl ran to a black man's arms. Yeah, give it away. Yeah, give it away. My neighbor got big testicles because we see this dude every day.
Jeez.
Yeah, they remixed it, and there's already, I mean, so many people on YouTube that have given the dead giveaway, and that's what it is. I mean, when you look at the tyrannical actions, and that's what they are. I mean, not saying that Barack Obama is a dictator, because I don't think that he has complete power, and I do think that we have at least an oligarchy or a kleptocracy. You can pick whatever ism or term you'd like. I think fascism, a lot of those, crony capitalism, a lot of those are accurate and describe this collusion. But it's funny.
Neo-aristocracy. How about that one?
It's a dead giveaway, bro. Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway. And that's what it is. I mean, if you have to convince people and you continue to tell people, I'm a nice person, you know what? I'm a nice person. Start wondering, really, are you a nice person? Are you a nice person or are you a broken record? Because that's what I hear. And when I look at the people that Barack Obama appoints, not just his own executive actions, orders, which have been used by heroes. The New Deal was done with a lot of executive actions, not to mention the fact that Executive Order 9066, the repatriation of gold to the government and to making it illegal to hoard gold and some of the other things, to give the country the need or the engine for that they needed for war. So I mean that's pretty tyrannical. And you can say, well, the New Deal was a great thing, Doug. And I would say, well, that's arguable depending on who you were and whether you benefited and whether you got a job or maybe you died building some public works deal, or your father worked in some almost slave community. I mean, there's a lot of things that were done in this country during all those public works projects that were pretty inhumane. And you can say, well, maybe that was a good thing.
Look the way it's going now. I mean, look what happened with Cyprus, and you have EU politicians going, well, that's probably going to be the way we do it from now on. I had a central banker document talking about that. How for some of these countries that we don't like, if we have to bail them out, they have to bail themselves out. And so, besides drilling safety deposit boxes, whether it's confiscation of gold, confiscation of money saved in accounts, destroying and debasing the currency, I mean, at this point, it is what it is. And the same thing that was done back in World War I, World War II, the same thing they're doing today in the war on humanity.
Yep. So there's a lot of other notable things that have happened. The 3D guns, I think that's pretty interesting because you have Vice and other alternative media organizations that have really done their best to put that on the radar so that Chucky Schumer and these guys can get ready to try to legislate 3D printing. And so, I mean, with all of these latest big events, current events that are happening, the response, you have the conspiracy response. The government response to something that they do not control is it's out of control, and people are going to start shooting each other with plastic guns, and we have to make laws. And it's at least it's very encouraging to see the separation between states, and I think that we are seeing the exertion of the 10th Amendment in states saying no more to the federal government and reestablishing those boundaries because their constituents demand it. South Carolina is just one example of a state nullifying things and actually criminalizing the health care, Obamacare. I'm trying to actually think of the term for it. People get upset if you say Obamacare. It's not Obamacare, Doug. It's the health, equal health for everyone, making it an affordable health care act, or whatever it was sold to the media as, which I don't even think anybody even really knows what it is or what it will end up being. And that was my whole take on it. What could it be? What will it end up being? And what will what would I like it to be, or what do I see as a better solution? I mean, those are we can sit here for 5 hours and talk about the flaws and faux pas of it, but most people, I mean, it's so large, so overwhelming. Most people have no idea what's going on with it.
And that's the whole point. Obfuscation. Fog of war, if you will.
Indeed, my friend. All right, well, I hate to do it. I'd like to hold you here and just keep your feet to the fire and keep ramming stories right at you and getting your opinion, but we've got plenty of time. There's so much more that could be talked about and will be talked about in the future, so no big deal. I hope everybody out there appreciated some of the anecdotes from armless race car drivers trying to masturbate all the way to Syria and the ground war and trying to allow Russia to somehow save face. So we did cover a lot of ground tonight. Mike, throw out those specifics for plugging or to plug your website, Twitter, and all the other places that people can keep up with you.
StratRisks.com and at StratRisks.com. And I'll be back to narrate the insanity, and I'll be back before you even start to miss me.
All right. Well, thanks, bro. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back Saturday. James Freeland will be our guest. Until then, take it easy. Be good. Take care. All right, we're clear.
I like that. I like that outro, man. It's kind of tight.
It's the same. It's the intro.